All right, I think I'm live on Instagram. We'll wait a minute or so to begin the discussion. I'm also going to record this on Zoom just for prosperity's sake. Is it prosperity or posterity? It's posterity, correct? Somebody please tell me. Let me know if you're watching this replay. Is it for prosperity's sake or posterity's sake? I think it's posterity, but recently I've been saying prosperity's sake, which isn't wrong, but just a little different meaning. So hi friends, hello to my Zoom room, and hello to Instagram Live. We're going to talk a little bit about law of attraction tonight. And I wanted to talk about this. I'm going to wait to start just for another minute because I know there's a delay with Instagram. It is like, we're still telling your followers. Okay, Molly said it's posterity. Okay, great. It's posterity, not prosperity, but maybe we can come up with a new saying for prosperity's sake, which actually would be perfect given the conversation that we're having tonight. So hello. I see some folks are joining on Instagram. Again, I'll give everyone just another minute to hop on because it does take a moment for Instagram to alert your followers. It says, we're telling your followers that you've started a live video. Hang on, we're telling more followers. Who are they telling? Who do they choose? How does Instagram choose who to tell? Things that I think about. Anyways, so I wanted to talk about law of attraction for a few reasons. First, I'm really on a kick right now. I'm really on a kick right now with this belief that we should get what we want out of life. There's no reason why you shouldn't get what you want out of life. But we'll talk about later in this live why you might not be, or why you might not be getting what you think you want. So, but I do believe that we should get what we want. And also I've had some recent shift in my understanding of law of attraction. And that has allowed me to actually understand it. Before I was just like, I don't really understand this. I don't really get this. And that's the thing with a lot of spiritual teachings is they take time. Like you have to sit with them, and sometimes you read it in a book or you hear it on a podcast or you watch it on a YouTube channel, and it doesn't totally land. And oftentimes it requires a teacher or somebody that speaks your language to have the concept land with you, or for you to experience something in your own life that gives you that lived experience where you're like, okay, I get it now. So hello everyone joining on Instagram. Give me a little wave. And I would love to just know, maybe in the comments, are you familiar with law of attraction? Is this something you've heard of before? Maybe you've read or watched The Secret. Or following spiritual teachers that talk about this idea that thoughts become things. Let me know in the comments and we'll get started. Yeah, we'll get started. So, like I said, one of the main reasons why and the third reason why I wanted to introduce this is because this is a concept that I'm going to be building upon in a workshop that I'm hosting this Sunday. It's my annual visioning workshop with a twist. We're going to dive deeper into some of these concepts. Earlier this week, I did a live on past lives. And so past lives and law of attraction are going to be two of the themes that we incorporate in our visioning. And so I wanted, folks that were new to these concepts to have an intro. And then anyone who's going to be joining the workshop will have this as a primer. So I wanted to talk about this because, like I said, I do believe that there's no reason why we shouldn't get what we want in life. But for a long time, like, I didn't really believe that. Like, I wanted to believe that, but I didn't really believe it. And I know that there's probably folks out there, maybe some of you that are listening to this and that are in the same place where you're like, yeah, I want to believe these memes where it's like just your dream life is coming, but you don't necessarily feel it, especially in some of the more challenging moments of life. And there's something else that I've seen that I think that at least this was my experience with some of the law of attraction teachings and law of attraction rhetoric, in that it wasn't working for me. Like it wasn't working for me, this concept of thoughts become things. I was like, okay, it didn't land. Like I said, I didn't have a lived experience of it. So as much as I wanted to believe in it, as much as I wanted to be like, yeah, I can make this happen, I can manifest my dream life, like it wasn't, I wasn't seeing the results. And the other thing that I've talked about with a number of like my one-on-one clients, and I think some in the Your Stellar Center group, and also just with some of my colleagues and friends, is I do feel that in some of the, and this is not to poo-poo on any teacher or any teaching methodology, but I do feel like some of the ways that law of attraction is presented in the most basic sense is it does make us think that we can control our lives. And while I believe you can direct your future, you can control, you can decide how you want to show up, you can decide how you're going to react to life and which future you're going to feed, you're also not totally in control. You're also not totally in control, no matter how big of a spiritual practice you do, no matter how many yoga classes you go to, you're not in control. As I mentioned, I introduced this concept in the past lives conversation, but I believe that your soul has a purpose. And this is a common theme in a lot of spiritual teachings. And so I started to be like, okay, there's something in this, because I learned this concept from many different teachers from many different lineages. Your soul has a purpose, and the universe wants you to fulfill that purpose. So your soul came here with a purpose, and your universe wants you to fulfill that purpose. And you can see that conversation about past lives after this if you want to go more into that. But the thing is, with some few exceptions, the moment we're born, we forget that. We forget that we are this like bigger being. We forget that we are something so much bigger than our physical selves, because we have to be human. Like, we came to Earth to be human, to learn lessons in this Earth school. So we have to momentarily, or more than momentarily, forget about this bigger picture that we had all planned out. So even though our higher selves, or our soul, or our spirit chose this body, this life for a reason, our human selves sometimes forget that. And life is a process of remembering that. And that's a little nod to the title of this Sunday's workshop, Remembering the Future. And actually, as I was sitting with it more, I think the title should be, and if I do this in the future, I'll change it, Remembering Your Future. Because there's not just one future. There's infinite futures. And that's where, like, you do have some say on where you're going. So you're not in control because your human self doesn't always remember that bigger purpose. And I would love to, like, if this is resonating with you, please give me a little heart or wave or something in the comments. Your human self doesn't always remember that purpose. And so we sometimes, I don't even want to say get lost, but we get distracted by societal conditioning and the things that we think we should be focusing on. So I should climb the corporate ladder and like really have a great career that I can, support myself and I don't know, have beautiful things and travel the world. Or think about like a should that you've had, and maybe you've moved past that should at this point of your life. I should get married before the age of 30 and have kids. I should buy a house instead of rent. I should settle down. So some of these shoulds, and in my one-on-one coaching, a lot of times I distinguish between like the higher self shoulds. So those shoulds that feel like they're coming from something bigger than you, that they're like, you know, it's like a pull, a desire, an uplift versus a should that feels a little bit shameful. But we have these shoulds from society, from our family, from people that we see as mentors or teachers or people that we look up to. And so we kind of forget a lot of times that we are something so much bigger. And the trouble comes when we try and manifest from this place of what we think we should want versus what we actually want, versus what our soul craves, versus what our soul desires. When you manifest from the place of, and also when we put a timeline on it, when we put a human timeline on it, because in the like soul spirit world, this is still a concept that I haven't fully integrated. I'll teach on it when I'm a little bit more advanced, but in the soul spirit world, there is no time. Like time is something that we've created here in the human world. So we say, well, I need to manifest, like I want to, let's go back to that example. Like I want to manifest my soulmate and my house and my 2.5 babies by the time I'm 35. And we put this timeline on it. And then we might be manifesting from a place that is a should, what we think we should want versus what we actually want. And then we also put a timeline on it. So when things don't show up on our timeline, we start to lose trust and we want to control more, right? When you start to lose trust in something, that's like when things start to feel like they're out of your control, that's when we try to hold tighter, when really we need to relax and maybe have a different perspective. So I think I want to take a step back before I go any deeper into this and just start from the top as to what is the law of attraction, because for a long while I heard about this, but I wasn't really sure what it was. And the law of attraction has gotten a lot of hype recently, I feel like, but it's only one spiritual law. There's many more. It's only one spiritual law. So it's important, and it's important to understand, but there are so many more. And my understanding of the law of attraction from at the beginning, when I first heard about this, was this idea that thoughts become things. Has anybody heard that before? Your thoughts become things. Thoughts become things, like have good thoughts, because they'll radiate out of you and they'll become your world. And I want you to take a moment and just think about that. Maybe think back to some of the things that you've said to yourself today, some of the things you've said to yourself this week, some of the things you know you've said to yourself in the past. Maybe even just have a thought right now, like let your mind wander. Did that thought come true? Did that thought come true? And for the most part, the answer is no. We don't live in a universe where our thoughts immediately become our things. Not yet. Maybe in a more evolved reality. But if that was the case right now, our world would look even more chaotic than it does. It would look even more chaotic than it does. What if I was, like every little kid that's like, I want a pony. Like, what if that just appeared? That's not really how it works. Repetitive thoughts become beliefs. And these do shape our reality because it's like a filter. If we believe we can't have something, that impacts our actions. if we believe we can have something or we are deserving of something, that impacts our actions as well. So repetitive thoughts become beliefs, but you get to choose which thoughts you are feeding and which thoughts you are, choosing to look at in a more critical or different manner. But real attraction, just think of when you think of the word attraction. Somebody that you were attracted to, was that from a thought or was that from somewhere else? Maybe when you met a partner or like someone you consider like a soul mate, even if that's a friend. Was it like, oh, I think this person is really cool? Likely no. It was a feeling. It was a feeling. So truly, the law of attraction isn't about our thoughts. It's about our feelings. It's about attracting from a place of desire. Attracting from a place of a desire, something that feels interesting, pleasurable, lights you up, something that you feel pulled towards, not just something that you intellectualize. And I like to think about this, and so coming back to this idea of attraction and law of attraction, I like to use the metaphor of a magnet. So a magnet works because, and the two pieces come together, they're both attracted to each other. It's not like if the sizes of the magnets are different, yes, one might pull the other, but assuming the sizes are the same, they attract each other. So when we apply that to our lives, if we have a desire for something, that thing and that desire really comes from us. It comes from deep within us. It comes from our soul. It comes from our spirit, not from, societal conditioning or what we think we should want. Then we should have reason to believe that thing would be attracted to us too, because attraction is a two-way street. It's a two-way street. It's not I'm attracted to you and you're not attracted to me. It is like a magnet. Both sides are being pulled towards one another. So for anyone just joining here on Instagram, we're talking about law of attraction and why it's not just thoughts become things. It's feelings, it's desires, and it's tapping into, and this is why sometimes law of attraction doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's because we're trying to do it from all up here. We're trying to do it from this intellectual space when truly it is something so much deeper. And it's the feeling that's going to draw that thing to you. So I'd love to hear for those watching either on Instagram or Zoom if this is resonating. If you have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. And like I said, this is a preview of this concept that we're going to be diving deeper into in my workshop on Sunday called Remembering the Future, or maybe Remembering Your Future. And you can get tickets for that using the link in my bio. It's Sunday from 1 to 3. We're going to be talking about 1 to 3 Eastern. There will be a replay if you can't join live, but live is always extra juicy. We're going to be talking more about law of attraction and specifically how you can use this spiritual law and a new understanding of this spiritual law to manifest or to find the areas where you might want to focus on in 2021. Again, I tend to, especially recently, I tend to not fully step into this word manifest because I do think there's a lot of, and it's not false messaging, it's just not, it's incomplete messaging around this teaching. It's incomplete information. And so it's like you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg when really there's there's so much more underneath it. And because I do think a lot of folks, just because, and like wellness and spirituality has become very hip. So more and more people are finding access to it, which is great. But also it's like we see it as a quick hit. Like, oh, cool, I can manifest my dreams. Like, yeah, let me write out my ideal partner and my ideal job and my ideal like money situation and dream vacation, and just like make it all happen. Which like I do believe those things are possible to come to you and for you to attract those things if they are from that deeper place of desire, but not if they're from this place of shoulds and control and really intellectualizing. And also too, remember that like your higher self has a plan for you. The universe wants you to fulfill that higher self's plan. And if you're trying to manifest from this place that isn't in alignment with that, it's likely not going to happen. So that might be too why you're not seeing results, is there's not an alignment with that true desire. So I'm going to leave you as with that with our live on what are we talking about? Past lives, past lives. Earlier this week, I'm going to leave you with a few questions for consideration. And then, like I said, if you are interested in going deeper into this and specifically like how you might apply it to goal setting or intention setting or visioning for the year ahead, I'd love to invite you to join, or I do invite you to join, and I would love to invite you to join our workshop on Sunday. So my questions for you today are this: are your current goals yours? Are your current goals yours? Maybe you've made some goals for this year, perhaps you haven't, but there's a lot of, goal setting rhetoric going on around right now, so it's probably in your head. Maybe there's a goal from last year or a longer term goal that you have with your career, your finances. And I want you to ask yourself, is that mine? And a good way to tell is, how does it make you feel in your body? How does that goal make you feel in your body? Do you feel like drawn towards it? Like it's literally pulling you? Like I'm like leaning into the screen right now? Or does it feel kind of like a should? I don't even want to say weight or burden, although that might be how you're feeling, but sometimes they can be a little sneaky. Does it feel like you're being like a good girl or a good boy by following that? Do you feel like you're going to get like a pat of approval from it? And is that why you're seeking it out, or is it really something from inside of you? Okay, so are your current goals yours? And then my second question, which I kind of just touched on, are they based on a feeling, and like a good one, like desire or pleasure or real interest, something that lights you up? Or are they based in fear? Are they based in conditioning? Are they based in shoulds? So I hope this gives you something to think about, something to chew on. Really good time to be looking more. The word that I want to say is critically, but not like in a negative sense. Like learn to look more critically and compassionately at what you're trying to achieve in your life, what your goals are. We just had a new moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is definitely our worker bee of the zodiac. And also the sign that I find really connects us to our life's work, maybe our life's purpose. And new moons are usually good times to write new emotional stories, plant seeds, start something fresh. And this is true right now, but as I shared with the ladies in my Your Stellar Center group earlier this week, this new moon has a different flavor because, I think because of everything going on in the world, because of everything going on astrologically, some of these really big shifts we've had from all this Capricorn energy into Aquarius, but also this new moon in particular sat next to Pluto, which is our sign of transformation, which is our sign of death. in our sign of letting go. And so my intuition, and also why I plan this workshop and this conversation around this time, is that before we can start something new, there is a layer that needs to be shed. There is a layer that needs to be let go. And so I invite you to look at that tonight or whenever you're watching this live. And then please join me on Sunday for Remembering the Future to take this and the conversation we had around past lives on Tuesday and really go deeper, apply it to yourself and your year ahead, and come up with an action plan that is practical but also aligned with your soul. All right, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out. This is super fun, and I'm liking these like nighttime lives. I feel like it's like we're all hanging out I have like a blanket here. We're all just like hanging out in my house, although this is not my house, by the way. But yeah, if you're enjoying these, please let me know, and I hope to continue them if they are helpful. Have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon and hopefully see you on Sunday. Goodbye, Instagram. How do I end this? Do I just click that? End.